Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. The name is Ninja Knight. Make sure you like the video, make sure you share the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell up at the top. Thank you. So here I have an article from express.co.uk, and this article has given me a very much needed laugh. Manchester United responds to Mason Greenwood and Bruno Fernandes training ground spat. Manchester United boss Ole Gunnar Solskjaer manages Mason Greenwood and Bruno Fernandes at Old Trafford. Top tier journalism there to know that two players that are employed by Manchester United are actually under the care of the manager. That's incredible stuff, great journalism. Manchester United have responded to claims Mason Greenwood and Bruno Fernandes had a training ground scrap. The Red Devils duo have had mixed seasons so far, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer under pressure. I'd say that Bruno Fernandes' season so far is far better than what's going on with Mason Greenwood. I would actually go as far as saying Bruno Fernandes is the best player at the club by a country mile. It's not even close. And to say that the two of them are having mixed seasons, throwing them into the same bag, wrong. And the last thing they need is players fighting with each other as they look to climb up the Premier League table, wrong. If you're involved in a sports team, you need to have people that are going to be aggressive with each other, especially if you want to win things. You cannot have passive members of the team. Look at what's happened with the club over the last couple of years. They have had a number of individuals who are passive, scratch themselves in interviews and say, oh, well, we can do better next time. Not the case. You need to be telling these guys, hey, you're not good enough. Step up. This isn't a nail salon. You cannot have this bitchiness. You need to stand up and be a man and take account of if you're playing well or not. Too many of these guys are prima donnas that get far too much money at a young age, which spoils them. And then when you have a top tier talent like Bruno Fernandes coming in and telling them this isn't good enough, you've guys like this guy here deciding, well, I don't want to hear that. Or you've guys like Paul Pogba that are saying, well, I don't want to hear that. Get over it. You have to hear this, and you should have been hearing this from the manager. That's what's been wrong at the club over the last number of years. You've heard from the manager that performances haven't been good enough, but because the media blows smoke up your arse, you think you're the greatest player in the world. Wrong. You have to work for that accolade. It's no surprise to me, and let's just take an aside for the moment, that Bruno Fernandes has already been linked to other clubs like Real Madrid and Barcelona, Bayern Munich and Juventus. Why do you think that is? Because those top tier clubs are looking at him and saying he's a player, we could bring him in no problem. Look at the other clubs that I've just named. Have they been chasing certain individuals that are in that Manchester United team? No is the answer. Have they been chasing Marcus Rashford? Have they been chasing Anthony Martial? Have they been chasing Mason Greenwood? Have they been chasing Paul Pogba? A little bit on and off, but I think most places now have killed their jets on him because they've realised that that dude is a fraud. So anyway, we'll continue with our article. That was just a small rant there. Manchester United have seen Greenwood struggle early on this season. After being sent home by England in disgrace after their 1-0 win over Iceland in September, and then having to issue an apology for inhaling laughing gas, the 19-year-old has scored just twice. This guy should be keenly aware that the media are going to scrutinise you on everything you do, purely because you're a Manchester United player, and particularly because you're one of the biggest players in the country. Look at, for example, what's gone on with Phil Foden. The head is down and he's working away. He's not getting involved in many of this nonsense. He's working as hard as possible from reports that are being said there. By and large, what happened in Iceland, in my opinion, very much so overblown. But when you're a member of Manchester United, they're going to overblow everything. So you're better off just keeping yourself to yourself and getting on with it. And realising that some thoughts that are out there are just there to make their names, which they've been doing. They've been selling those stories to newspapers that they were hanging out around you. So do be careful and do understand that these women are only there for one reason. Fernandes hasn't been himself earlier this term, though the 26-year-old did recently turn to form with a brace in the 3-1 win over Everton on Saturday. Is this person that's reporting this at all, did he watch Manchester United? Fernandes has been the best player in the club. He's been fantastic in some games. Certainly he can have moments where he's not being great, but he always gives 110% and he's always looking for players to be doing things. He's certainly not resting on his laurels. Forgetting about the performance he put in the PSG and RB Leipzig. Those are performances as well too. Let's not forget. It was reported by the Times that both players had a training ground altercation, with Fernandes berating his teammate during a mini-match. Good. He should be. This sort of attitude of, oh well, better luck next time, not good enough at a top club, not good enough if you want to be winning things. You need to be returning to the era of Roy Keane. And this is what Fernandes reminds me of. He reminds me of Roy Keane. Things that aren't good enough, he's going to call out. And I love that, because that is something that the club needs to have. And certainly, it's not coming from the management. Look at how passive Solskjaer is. Look at how passive Michael Carrick is. Those are two guys with very little personality at all. So you need somebody in there that's going to fire people up and say, let's go, let's have a go at it, and let's get these things done. Fernandes seems to be the guy that's doing it. However, the Daily Mail say United have denied an altercation took place. Bad news. They should have just said, yeah, it did. But they're probably just trying to shield Greenwood from the public eye, and certainly from the media, because the media will go all in on this. They've recently said he's been turning up late to train, and Solskjaer said that wasn't true. Suppose we might see on that one. This guy is in a very precarious moment now. He could turn into another Ravel Morrison, and we all know what happened there. So for him, he needs to buck up, or else he's out. Yet they're said to be worried about Greenwood, with the England international struggling to kick on after finding the net 17 times across all competitions last term. Bear in mind, this is a report now that the club are worried about him. This is the same club that have Jesse Lingard employed at the club still. He is slinked through another transfer window. Phil Jones is still employed at the club. This is a club that just got rid of Chris Smalling. This is a club that still is hanging on to people that are very, very average players. This is a club that signed Alex Telles and decided to put him on the left wing instead of having him at left back and getting Shaw out there, who should be far and beyond out there. This is the same club as well too that's played Harry Maguire after some horrific performances as well. So this nonsense of, well, they're concerned about him, I'd be concerned about a various number of players in that team. Martial's another one as well. You would think Martial is 40 with the lack of movement that he has up front. I'd be worried about far more other people than this guy personally, to be honest. They reportedly feel the teenage talent isn't getting enough sleep and feels the need to improve his conditioning if he's to scale huge heights in the future. That's on him. He has to be the one to make those decisions. He's a young lad. He's loads of fame. You gave him loads of money. Why would he care now? It's the Ravel Morrison effect, or Ravel Morrison, whatever you want to call him. He's gotten loads of money now. He's made in life. Why would he care? That's the attitude that some of these guys have. They don't have the attitudes of some other players that want to kick on and become better. Like Thomas Muller, for example, wants to kick on, gets big money, plays on. Cristiano Ronaldo, another guy. United feel Greenwood is struggling to understand the process and how big a role it played in the development of Cristiano Ronaldo during his time at Old Trafford. From what I understand, though, Ronaldo wasn't at the same stuff. Yes, he was going out. Yes, he was enjoying himself. Ronaldo doesn't consume alcohol. He wasn't out getting tattoos. He wasn't doing stupid things from what I remember. Now, he could have been up to things, but ultimately he had the likes of Roy Keane there beside him to say, here, let's crack on. He'd professionals like Paul Scholes that were there. Professionals like Ryan Giggs as well too at the time that were there. Edwin van der Sar, guys like that were a solid base of the team and people he could respect. Mason Greenwood was looking at that team and he's looking, who am I respecting? Mata, okay, and Bruno Fernandes. Name anybody else that you could probably respect within that team. There's not many. And whether the 19-year-old can recover from his troublesome start to the new season remains to be seen. Absolutely. Meanwhile, former Red Devil star Dimitar Berbatov recently gave Greenwood advice and urged him to stay in the right lane. United have seen wonder kids fail to live up on their potential in the past. Oh, there we go. Ravel Morrison once touted for greatness before failing to kick on. He's in a precarious position now at the moment. He could end up like the old Jesse Lingard guy, and that's not a criticism, and that's not a constructive thing that you want to be compared to as Jesse Lingard. And Berbatov said, I hope his England antics don't hamper his chances of Man United selection. We've all been young players and done stupid things. He will get some sort of punishment. He can apologise and learn from those mistakes, and hopefully they'll never be repeated again. Given the right environment that is United, the players and manager around him, I doubt that the manager that's going to be there for long, to be honest. He is in the right place to become a great player, but only if he remains focused and chases that goal. He needs to stay in the right lane. Yes, you are going to have difficulty going forward with your career. You will have ups and downs, but stay focused. If he can do that, he will be okay. So that's the problem with some people now. They expect instant success, instant gratification. Don't understand hard work and work ethic. These guys are far removed from this stuff, in my opinion. Berbatov also backed Solskjaer to help get the best from Greenwood, believing the Norwegian's man management skills can be crucial. Severely disagree there. You look at some of the forwards that they have at the club, none of them has kicked on and improved. Certainly not Martial, certainly not, I suppose, Dan James you could throw into that frame of mind. Wan-Bissaka's crossing hasn't improved. Luke Shaw's only gotten worse as a defender. Harry Maguire's actually regressed. The coaching that's going on in the team is really bad, I think, in my opinion. And it seems like some players that they're bought with this key idea of what they're going to do, and they actually get worse. So I don't think the coaching is there. So to me, maybe if Solskjaer was just a forward coach, maybe if he was just a striking coach, maybe they could have gotten something out of it. But like I said, when you're bringing in Edinson Cavani and you're trying to say to us as fans that, yeah, our strikers are top tier stuff, not really if you're going to have to bring in some additional support that you're actually having on the bench along with Ighalo. It's crazy stuff. It's all by his attitude, and it's the reason why I don't think Solskjaer will be there much longer. He added, I think they will have a good conversation. The good thing is that Ole was a striker and Greenwood is a striker. So Ole is going to give him the right advice at this moment, I am sure. Well, I mean, what we're kicked on from a year with Dan James and he hasn't improved. We've kicked on now with Martial. He's struggling to find form and struggling to find the goal. Struggling to show any sort of movement as well. Robin Van Persie, you could move more than him at this stage. And then you've Rashford as well too, that on occasions does miss absolute sitters. So I'm not sure about the coaching that's happening. Of course, it comes down to the environment the player has outside of the club, his family, his friends, his agent. But most important thing is that Ole will tell him. I certainly don't think Ole is going to be there for long. And to be honest with you, I think that at this stage the club needs somebody completely different because they're just not getting the best out of players. The players are not playing well. There's arguments like this happening. There's not a trimming of the fat in the club, in my opinion. Like, for example, I'd be sticking him into the under-23s if he was carrying on and saying, right, you're out of first team now for the time being until you buck up your attitude and come back. He's always on the periphery though. He's going to be like, well, next time there's a match, you'll probably be in the squad. So what ultimate punishment has he faced sitting on the bench? Sure, he doesn't care. What ultimate punishment do these players face when they're not playing well? They're still playing. He's still bringing Paul Pogba on after years of Pogba mounting out of him saying that he wants to go to another club, even this summer again, and then putting in shit performances. Stop it. So this is what's going on at the club. It's a bit of a laughing stock at the moment. I hope they turn things around. My advice would be hopefully the owners will change over. They will start to employ someone like some sort of football director that knows what they're doing. Certainly hire a manager that knows what they're doing, because some of the stuff that we've seen in recent times is bizarre. Look at that game against Istanbul. I mean, there's no fans in the stadium and the technical area is there. The manager didn't think to look around and say, hang on, we're actually outnumbered here and there's a problem that if this starts to break. That's incredible stuff for me, and that just shows the lack of professionalism and the lack of management that's at the club at the moment. That is a glaring error in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think below. Do you think Mason Greenwood is in the right? Do you think he's in the wrong? Would you agree with Bruno Fernandes? Personally, if we could have 11 Bruno Fernandeses, I'd have them because he's wonderful. And in spite of him maybe not having the greatest of times at the moment, he's still playing very, very well and he's head and shoulders above the rest of them. So what does that say about the rest of them? Do you feel the same way? Let me know what you think about the club at the moment. Who do you think that they should sign? Do you think that they should hang on to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as a manager, or do you think it's time to call it a day and move him on and certainly sign up somebody else? Let me know who you think you would like to have in the club and what you think the club should do next. I'm going to leave the video there. Make sure you like, share and subscribe. Hit that notification bell and I'll talk to you later. Good luck.